very bright and sunny afternoon right here in a relaxed atmosphere at the Golden Swan Country Club. Hello and welcome to Tea Time with me, Chaiti Narula. On this very special episode, we are going to be discussing some concerns over the retrospective taxation in this country, whether or not GST is a desirable tax system to have in India or just plain leadership challenges, with a special guest today from PricewaterhouseCoopers.
On the show this week, we have Ketan Dalal, Western Region Managing Partner and Joint Tax Leader, PwC.
The Shom Committee said that whenever there is a SAR provision, one should not try and invoke GAR on top of that.
In news, Peter Senior wins the Australian Open by 1 stroke. And Charles Schwartzel wins Thailand Golf Championship by 11 shots.
Welcome.
Thank you very much.
What a brilliant tee off, Mr. Ketan Dalal. Welcome to Tea Time today.
Thank you, Chaiti. Thank you for inviting me on the show.
You know, it is said that the way people play their golf reflects a lot about how they conduct their business as well. So what a beautiful way you've teed off. A lot talking about how you transact your business as well. So, you know, accountants are known to be somber people, and you're a really fun guy. All of us know that all throughout. Tell me, when did you take on to golf, and how did this interest come about?
Well, it's about 3 years back. One of my colleagues put it is therapeutic. It sort of helps you to de-stress, at the same time helps you to focus. It's a greatly rewarding game. But yes, and I think Ben Hogan once said, you know, that when you walk down the fairway of life, you must take some time to smell the roses, because you're not going to get another chance to play another round.
You know, for a person like you, a lot of business must be getting transacted at the golf course as well. Does that happen for you many times? Or do you prefer to leave that to the boardroom?
Well, the idea is not to transact business on the golf course. The idea is to play golf. But if something happens and in the course of a conversation, the conversation veers towards business, why not? But that's not the
But has that ever happened to you, though?
Once or twice, yes.
You talked about taking things forward. So time now for me to tee off, and we continue with the game and our conversation. You've been an industry leader in many ways than one, and 30 years you've spent in this profession. How has the industry changed over the past 30 years?
Well, I think it's unrecognizable, Chaiti, honestly, completely unrecognizable from what it was. The complexity of the environment has changed significantly.
Right.
And therefore, a lot of specialization has come in. So I think 2 or 3 aspects. You know, one is, as I said, the specialization. Whether it's domain specialization, say transfer pricing, for example.
Correct.
Or industry specialization.
Correct.
So, you know, you have today, for example, people who are just focusing on financial services within their profession, because within that itself it is so wide that it is very, very difficult to focus on anything else.
Right.
Secondly, I think the skill set, you know, in terms of the qualification, it is one thing, but I think given the complexity of the environment, one always wants to hire people with the right attitude, the right mindset.
Right.
But there is a contradiction there, because on the one hand, that is what we need. On the other hand, if you see the growth of the last 20 years, and especially the period 2000 to 2007, just before Lehman, I think the requirement of quality people and the supply of quality people, there is a mismatch. So today, with the growth being 5%, GDP growth being 5%, just over that, perhaps the employing organizations are in a somewhat better state, but at least for the last few years, that was not the situation, and therefore, you know, people were, in spite of needing better quality people, one perhaps would have lowered the benchmark a bit.
Now, you talk about talent in this country. You're heading a team of over 1,300 professionals as well. You are a leader in your own right. Now, do you think that young CEOs, young professionals are becoming CEO at a much more premature age than they are supposed to? And is that impacting the quality of business getting transacted in this country?
I won't say CEOs, but certainly the growth, Chaiti, in the last few years, or the growth aspirations have increased substantially. Some people are really, really extraordinary. And even though they are very young in age, their maturity is significantly beyond what one might think would be at that age. At times, what I tend to think is that there is something for grey hair, there is something for white hair, there is something for experience. But some things will be only from experience and not otherwise.
Right.
So yes, to some extent that is a challenge, but not in all cases.
All right, so on that note, let's take a quick break right here on Tea Time with me, Chaiti Narula. We are in conversation with Ketan Dalal, who is the Western Managing Partner and tax leader of PricewaterhouseCoopers, and we will be discussing the Indian tax system in much more detail on the other side of this break. Stay tuned.
Today, the whole process, the paperwork, the way there is a multiple set of indirect taxes is making it extremely difficult for industry to function.
This show presented to you by Mahindra Quanto. Live the weekend life. In association with, at United India, it's always you before I.
Your security is incomplete without UI. United India for all your general insurance needs. Homes, offices, industries, projects, cargo and transit, motor vehicles, health. United India Insurance Company Limited. Solutions that bring back smiles real fast.
Interview. Good luck. I have my good luck.
Guys, thanks. We found our man. Better luck next time.
Monster.com. Better access, better connections, better jobs. Log on to Monster.com. Find better.
See life in the best light. Outdoors or in. Transitions lenses automatically adjust just the right amount of light, so you see everything the way it's meant to be seen. Maybe even a little better. Live life well lit. Experience life well lit. Ask for Transitions adaptive lenses.
What if the next big thing isn't a thing at all? It's lots of things, all waking up, connecting to the global phenomenon we call the Internet of Everything. It's going to be amazing and exciting, and maybe, most remarkably, not that far away. We're going to wake the world up and watch with eyes wide as it gets to work. Cisco. Tomorrow starts here.
Welcome back. You're still tuned into Tea Time with me, Chaiti Narula. Remember, we are in conversation with Ketan Dalal, and in this segment, we are going to be discussing about retrospective taxation as well in this country. Now, Mr. Dalal, if you look back, India went through quite a bit of a turbulent phase, especially when it came to GAAR, because the government imposed some changes in the tax systems in this country. Recently, we also had Ratan Tata, who said retrospective taxation is a terrible idea. Tell me, how shocked were you, your colleagues at PwC, your clients, whether Indian and the foreign-based clients, when they heard something like this?
Chaiti, there are two separate aspects. One is the GAAR, and for many of the readers, viewers who may not be aware, it stands for General Anti-Avoidance. So that's one aspect. And second is the indirect transfer, and I think you're referring to the Vodafone kind of case.
Absolutely.
So that is the retrospective part. Now, insofar as the retrospectivity is concerned, as the Shom Committee itself has said, I think retrospective taxation by itself should be in the rarest of rare circumstances. I think only when it is either an absolutely patent error or a very abusive tax planning idea. But it should not be resorted to in normal circumstances. And in a situation of the one that we had, where 4.5 years of litigation was done, and then you say, by the way, I forgot. This is the government says this is the rule or this is the law as I thought it was. sort of unilaterally changing it retrospectively was certainly not a great idea. I think it has sent very, very negative signals on the whole investment climate internationally. Of course, the SHOAM committee has recommended that the retrospectivity be neutralized, and one hopes that it will be very shortly. The second question that you asked was regarding GAR, the General Anti-Avoidance Rule. Now, conceptually, one cannot have any objection to GAR, conceptually. The problem is twofold. One is one needs to be cognizant of the way the administration of law is in a particular country. And in India, while things are improving, I think the situation is that it does take very long to resolve disputes, and there is fair bit of arbitrariness in that. Also, within the fact that GAR itself is a very, very subjective kind of concept, the fact of the matter is that even there, the wording is very, very wide and sweeping. And when you have such wide wordings in what is itself a very subjective concept, I think it adds to the concerns, and I think rightly so.
Mr. Dalal, a lot of people will argue that it is the government's decision to decide the taxation system in this country. But what sort of steps, in your opinion, should the government be taking so as to encourage investments and also give a boost to the revenues as well? At the same time, encourage all the business transactions as well.
I think, as you rightly put it, it is nobody's case that it is not the government's right to decide a taxation policy. But obviously, the government does take inputs. It is cognizant of the investment climate. I think 2 or 3 things here.
Right.
One is stability. As Mr. Rangarajan, Dr. Rangarajan said a few days back, I think there has to be stability at least in the short and medium term.
Right.
Of course, tax laws have to evolve with changing situations, changing dynamics, changing economic environment. But stability, I think, is key. Secondly, the ability to resolve disputes quickly is very critical. The third thing is we must be cognizant that as an emerging economy, and I think it has already emerged partly, I think we really need to understand that we are competing for global capital.
Absolutely.
So, for example, in BPOs, you know, we have Philippines, we have Indonesia, we in fact have a country like Ireland which has BPOs now. Keeping that in mind, we do need to recognize that the investment climate, of which taxation is an integral part, needs to be conducive and stable to make sure that international investors are comforted. That needs to be borne in mind. I think today we have lower tax rates, admittedly, and which is a good thing. We have very few exemptions, which is not a problem. But stability is very important. Dispute resolution is very important. And indeed, in certain cases, oil and gas sector, for example, you still may need incentives, or infrastructure, you may still need incentives. So there could be pockets in which that is needed. I mean, these are 2 or 3 things. And the administration on the ground has to significantly improve.
Now, coming back to the GAR, Mr. Ketan Dalal, what are the 3 or 4 things that you would want the government to ensure to ease out the investors as well? And what are the other concerns?
That's an easy one to answer because I think the SHOAM committee has already done that. I think the SHOAM committee report on GAR was a very, very good report.
Right.
And I think they laid out in fairly great detail, you know, some of the, how should I put it, mitigating steps to address GAR. One, of course, is the language needs to be tightened. Right. The SHOAM committee did make some recommendations. Second is the invocation fetters. There should be proper invocation fetters. So your ability of a tax officer to invoke GAR cannot be unfettered. And they suggested that there should be a panel which should approve the invocation of GAR and that the panel should contain external people and not just revenue officials. Third, of course, they suggested that, you know, we need a little time to get used to GAR, and so there is a deferment. But also a very interesting suggestion, you know, we have something called SAR, which is Special Anti-Avoidance Rule. So, for example, transfer pricing. And the SHOAM committee said that whenever there is a SAR provision, one should not try and invoke GAR on top of that, because the general principle is that if there is a special provision, the special provision underwrites the general. So I think these are the 2 or 3 things there.
All right, so we'll shift our focus a little now to GST, which is the Goods and Services Tax. We've got industry leaders like Adi Godrej as well, who have said that GST is in fact very conducive to the GDP of the country as well. In your opinion, do you think GST is a desirable act or not?
Absolutely.
And what kind of resistance is coming in from the states?
I think it's an excellent piece of legislation, and of course one has to see the way it works.
Right.
But conceptually, as a concept, I think